Hey, Ben. Thanks for coming. So my question is on gun control. So we've all heard what all-knowing Jimmy Kimmel thinks of gun control, but
Yeah, our great moral savior.
yeah, the deity, yeah, you know. But
We're not bouncing women on trampolines.
I'd just like to hear. So if like you were president, what policies would you like to see like put in place? Because I know you're for further background checks for criminal history and mental illness, and correct me if I'm wrong.
So mental illness, yes. So there are significant holes in the system whereby somebody has actually been in a mental hospital for mental illness, and then they still have access to a gun. This seems to me foolish. And the biggest problem here, honestly, is that the government is, again, really bad in enforcing things. So in the state of California, there are like 30,000 people who had guns and who were on the mental illness list, and the state knew about them, and they had 30 people to police those 30,000 people and try and remove guns from them. Good luck with that. So I think that background checks for mental illness need to be strengthened and made more transparent. I think that that would be the chief criticism. As far as some of the other background checks, I mean, universal background checks essentially exist now, except with regard to hand-to-hand purchases, which is not a gun show loophole. It's just a hand-to-hand purchase loophole. And it's going to be almost impossible to police that anyway, because if I decide to sell you my gun, unless you go out and commit a crime, nobody's ever going to know about it for the rest of human history. So that's very difficult to police beforehand. I think that what I had said is that when it came to Las Vegas, the obvious one is there's a case to be made for regulation of bump stocks because it turns a semi-auto into an effective automatic weapon. But the big problem there, again, is you can do that. I'm not sure it's going to be super effective because you can manufacture a bump stock with basically a spring. So it's not super difficult. And you can also bump fire a rifle if you know what you're doing. So my answer on gun control generally is that the problem is not the presence of guns in a given society. The problem is the presence of bad people in a given society, or the presence of mentally ill people in a given society who should not be at liberty, for example. That is the bigger problem to me. I mean, if you look at the states in the Union, there's no correlation in the states in the Union between level of gun ownership and level of crime. In fact, virtually all crime in the United States exists in major cities, right, which tend to vote blue, right, and where there is heavy gun control. Out in rural America is not where people are shooting each other up. It's happening almost entirely in blue counties, in red states, for example. Right? People say, "Oh, Louisiana, really high gun crime rate." Right? It's all in New Orleans. Right? That's really. I mean, if you look at where it's located, it's all in New Orleans. So that's worthy of note.